Etchuan.
That's not D-Batch or anyone he knows. I'm not sure where that accent comes from.
That's a perfect impersonation of D-Batch.
It's a horrible impersonation.
Don't make me do the British accent. I will.
Oh, God. Hey, welcome to Real Deal Xbox Podcast, guys. Thank you for joining us. As always, if you're here, hit the like button, share it out. We do appreciate it. You know, news is interesting because we've got developers calling developers liars, and then we're calling other developers booger eaters, and we're just so many things, so many insults from developers flying all over the place. But we've got all the information here, and we've also got all the latest topics for you guys. So again, thank you for joining us. We do appreciate it. We'll do some intros, do some shout outs, and then we'll move on to some really interesting topics. We've got, this week we've got Wilmy Hood joining us. He's a special guest. Hi, Wilmy.
Hi, dealer. How are you, sir?
Pretty good.
It's good to be back.
Things good?
I really missed you
All right.
and Tim Dog and Zalker. I really didn't miss Fonz very much, though.
Oh, okay. You just forgot about
It's
D-Bash?
okay.
D-Bash will be here in 10 minutes, by the way.
D-Bash isn't even here. I couldn't miss him yet.
Yeah, he'll be here soon. But thanks for joining us, Wilmy. We do appreciate it, man. We've also got xCloud Tim Dog. Brother, how you been?
Good. Happy to be here. Sorry about not here last week, but here this week. Ready to go. We got a lot of good topics, and we'll probably delve right into them and have a joyous conversation, but it's going to be good. Finally, some type of some good concrete news.
It's going to be joyous. It's like the gentlemen that show up on your front porch. So we've also got Zalker87. How you been, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Having a good time. You know, can't wait to get into these topics. I see that you're playing Aliens with a semi-sweet Cheeto. That makes sense. You're killing things. I'm having a good time watching this. I haven't played this game yet, but I want to. Chat, we're glad to be here again. There's some awesome topics. You know, developer crime. It's
oh shit.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on, and thank you everybody's like actually talking about the ILP I had this last Sunday. Yeah. Thanks, guys. It was a good time talking to all everybody.
He was on Internal Lords of Podcasting podcast.
Internal Lords. Oh yeah. King David has a crush on me.
Shout out to
Spread the word.
Shout out to ILP.
Really?
But yeah, again, this is Aliens Fire Team Elite. I don't know who the fuck named this game, but I didn't want to put Joe's game on, right? We all know it's you know, hey, I don't want to stream like 1/3 or 1/4 of the game during the podcast right now. I want to let people get Song of Iron for themselves and experience it for themselves before I stream a chunk of the game. So that's a shout out to Joe Winters, who did develop Song of Iron. We had him on the show a few times. Fonz just had him on, and his game Song of Iron is out now. So if you guys haven't, check it out. But I'll probably have that footage in a few weeks, just to kind of preserve the story for people that are looking forward to Song of Iron. So again, we will have that. But right now, yeah, Aliens Fireteam Elite, and this game, you know, pretty interesting. Me and Chris Cornell was playing this, and then obviously the footage now is a little bit better. We have some glitches, but hey, let me get to D-Batch. I was stalling long enough for D-Batch to get here. D-Batch, how you been, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, sorry, man. Was running a little bit late today, man. But yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You totally missed Zalker's impersonation of you, D-Batch.
I was excited to get home. I can't lie though, man. I was excited to get onto the show today because we got some really awesome topics. So you stalled enough for me. Let's get it on.
We've also got Fonz early, brother. How you been?
Could be better, but
shit.
I'm here.
Well, we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry the rash is flaring up.
Yeah. Damn rash.
Yeah.
All right.
Those
The
damn
media never
rashes.
goes away, Fonz.
Those damn rashes. You know, and again,
That keeps on giving.
shout out to everyone in the chat, guys. Brad Browning. We've also got the Fifth Horseman. We've also got George Foreman. Man, your grill just crushes the shit out of everything I put in it. The food smashed to hell. I'm sorry, but you need a different version of that. Lone Star, shout out to you, as well as Leon, Oren, and of course, Psychic Dog Man. I made that one up. Only on Xbox is in the chat, though. Shout out to you. But yeah, guys, if you haven't, again, share it out. We do appreciate it. Hit the like button. We'll get into some topics. We got some shout outs to go here, so I'll get into those. We've got Fork Boy Gaming. We've got Dave, Incubus, Ricky Falan. Shout out to you, Darz Knight, Faultline Z, Not Silik, God's Geeks. Yes, we're going to have him on sometime here soon. Bad Boy Live, Achievement to Nano, Polymath, as well as Zoradin, Costanza, Scout Trooper 74, KY Bob, Goose 8402, Scrawlhead Khalifa, Assassin Lupa, Foreign Object, and Gabqueeze, Teo, John Blue, Beck Boss, Deviator X, Real Deal News, Suicide King, Texas Genie, Michael Bowen, Guillermo Cavillo, All Might, as well as Dark CMF and Alfonso Hogan. Shout out to my patron. Shout out to your, you guys are awesome, as well as all the patrons. You're on the scrolling thingy at the top of the screen, right? So check that out. So let's go ahead and talk about how devs are ganging up on Insomniac a little bit here. Basically making the claim that Ratchet & Clank, yes, the one with all the portals and whatnot that teleport you somewhere, those could apparently be done on the Atari 2600, and not impressed at all, says some of these developers. No, they're saying it could be done on a couple generations ago hardware like PS3. Now, this is kind of hit or miss depending on what people are actually taking away from this. Like, I think people are thinking that the developers are saying that this in its entirety, meaning all of the detail, all the AI, all of the LOD, right? All of the level of detail without any pop in, all that stuff could be done on old stuff. And I don't think that's quite what they're saying. Insomniac themselves have kind of responded and said, well, yeah, you'd have to get rid of a lot of the assets, a lot of the detail, and basically it's just not going to be the same thing by the time you're done if you were to run this or try to do this on older hardware. But, I mean, kind of thoughts on this developer action here, Zalker?
There's a lot of stuff going on here. I mean, the reason why this even kind of came up and why developers are talking about it is because the game director of, Ratchet and Clank, Mike Daly, actually said you could make a game like the new Ratchet and Clank on the PlayStation 4, but just visually speaking, you would have to dial back a ton in order to get it to run. So one of the things I think people are just kind of annoyed with is that, this game was posted as like a PS5. This can only be done because of the SSD, right? And it's not the reason. Like, a lot of the stuff that the developers talk about from Travelers and all that, those people that came out and talked about it, is they said, you know what, you're using a lot of the same kind of tricks that were used during the PS3 era.
Trickery.
And the PS4. Like, just kind of things where it's not really in your control. Because I don't know about you, but when I was playing the game, like, I beat the game, I had a great time. 12 hours, whatever, it's great. But I didn't really get like a, oh crap moment from it. I didn't get like, wow, this could never be done. I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool, but I always thought the rifts where you were in like kind of these hubs where you're fighting a bunch of enemies as kind of gimmicks. You just kind of fly around this small little section of the map and that's it. But when you were flying like on that big racing beetle thing, it was controlled. It was really controlled. It kind of told you where you're going to go. So that felt very guided. And that's what the developer was talking about. Like, hey, this can still be done. Like, this was done like, I mean, look at God of War, right? When you're fighting the boss and you're flying around all over the place, like the stranger, you're going different places, but again, it was guided. So I kind of see what they mean by that. So that's where I think people are kind of annoyed with it, where they're like, wait, what's going on? Like, why are they saying this is like only this gen that can be done? When in reality, it's been done before. Because I don't know. I always thought you were going to go through rifts, fight different monsters, jump into another world instantly, and you control it. You control when you want to go into the different worlds. The only time you really had that is when you hit that crystal in the game, and it sent you to different kind of dimensions. But it was only 2 dimensions. So I don't understand that. Like, that's what I'm saying.
So
is that
you're saying that
really
this could be done on the original Xbox from 2001?
See, I think that a lot of the stuff that they brought in there, so it's a little weird, right? So one of the things he said was a lot of the stuff that's coming through the portals is generic items like a box. He's like some of these boxes or these little items that are all over the game that you can just kind of store in your RAM. He's like, you could preload these and store them. They're not a big deal. But the only thing I see that's different is that those are destructible. Those boxes, if you played Ratchet & Clank, you can destroy a lot of the stuff around and it makes the combat look super hectic and fun. Mm-hmm. So like all those boxes are individualized because you could destroy them. And so that's maybe the difference where I think the PS5, like, I don't know, man. It's a little weird. It's extremely technical to get into it.
Well,
I think...
Go ahead, D-Bitch.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say, I think it's the speed of which it loads. Like when you're going through those rifts, the speed. I think it's the fidelity, of course, all the details, all the stuff that's going on. I think that clearly could only be done on the PlayStation 5 with the fidelity and, like I said, the speed. But the other stuff, it could be done on other systems. They would have to mask it and, of course, lower the level of fidelity on it, but it could be done. It was done with Halo to an extent when you have both versions running. It was done with
Medium. The Medium had two games loaded at the same time, where you're going through like the cursed world and then the original world, right? Like that's what I instantly thought of.
Yeah,
I was
the
like,
Medium,
wow,
as well as oh my gosh, what
Portal. I mean, damn.
At Titanfall did it to some degree.
Titanfall.
So it's not like it couldn't be done. It just I don't think it could be done at the same level of fidelity. And when you have all the developers, like these are guys that actually create the games, right? So when you have them saying that it would be possible, then it would be possible. And I don't know why we're surprised by this, because Sony said the same thing about Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
They also said the Series S is going to hold X, Y, and Z back while ignoring features that weren't used, or while ignoring lowest common denominators on PC. I don't just say, hey, X person's a developer, it's gospel. I don't, because we've seen it over and over and over that that's just not the case. Some are more technical than others. Respect to all of them, and I'm not saying I'm smarter than anyone, but I am allowed to think on my own, and from what we've seen in the past, it's good to question almost anything anyone says out there about this kind of stuff. I would say this is not possible on PS3. And the only way that we would know this is basically is if we had Insomniac build an identical tech demo using the same engine, which for one isn't even possible because the engine wouldn't even run on PS3. But secondly, if you're going to say this sequence in this exact game is possible on PS3, you've got to be able to run the engine on PS3, which you can't do. And secondly, if they're saying this isn't possible on older hardware, they're saying this experience, right? What you're getting here, they're using the SSD as a big cache of virtual memory. That's how they're able to draw and pull through so many assets so quickly. I mean, you guys know I'm an Xbox as they get pretty much, but at the end of the day, I know exactly what they mean by this isn't possible on older hardware, and I don't even think it was really meant to go against the Xbox even. I think they're saying that without the SSD, only possible thanks to the SSD of the PS5, and it's not on Xbox, obviously, so they're going to tout it as an Xbox or a PlayStation marketing feature, right? This is only possible because of the SSD in general. It would work on the Xbox, it would work on the PlayStation, it would work on the PC, but it's not on any other platform. Therefore, it's kind of pitched and skewed as a PlayStation 5 marketing mechanic. But I would still say that, yes, all of this detail, all of the AI, all of the things happening in the background pulled through and drawn, LOD maxed essentially at the very beginning of viewing them, right? This stuff would not be even be close to possible in last generation hardware. I wouldn't think it for a second.
I think that's
scale. Well, hold on a second. Scale down. I do think it's possible.
But then it's not the same thing.
You should ask Fonz about this, because he had Mr. Witt, a Song of Iron developer, and he actually asked him this question, and he gave a really good answer. So ask Fonz on this.
No. I mean, I think people are jumping to conclusions here and like jumping way ahead and looking at it from a perspective of, can this Rift Apart be entirely done on the PS3? Of course not. And that fidelity and all that stuff. But what this developer was saying was the rifts themselves could be done. Like, that's all he was really pointing out. Like, everybody else jumping to conclusions about how, oh, no, you couldn't do all these graphics and everything. That's not what he was saying at all. And Joe Winter on my show, also a developer, said the same thing, that, yeah, technically it could be done because it's just two basically scenes at once, going
bridging them very quickly and very smartly.
Yeah, and basically he said you could even do it instantaneously. However, what are you willing to concede in terms of graphics and fidelity and all that stuff? Because at the end of the day, if you're playing on the PS3 and you've got this game with rifts running on the PS3, what are you going to be? You're going to be like this square. You're going to go back to Atari 2600 graphics.
And that's why I started it out how I said it, though. It's very important we talk about this, because it's one of those things where people aren't talking about it the same way as maybe a different
hit it on the head. You hit it on the head. So did Zocker. You guys hit it and you nailed it. But the thing is like, this developer wasn't saying all that. He wasn't saying that you could do all this stuff on the PS3. However, you can do these rifts, because at first they were saying the rifts, and I remember Sony's marketing was the rifts were entirely impossible without the PS5's SSD and the speed. And they walked it back when Mike Daly, the director of Rift Apart, said, no, you can make a game like this on older hardware. I mean, he pretty much said it, but you're just going to have to dial back.
Now, what I'm
Said it.
advocating for is that this experience in its entirety, that's why it is impressive, and that's why they would need an SSD, because the hard drive only has so much bandwidth, right? The Xbox One has, I think it's 40 megabytes per second, 60 megabytes for the Xbox One X. An SSD is thousands of megabytes per second. And the reason that's important, and the reason that virtual memory with this SSD combined with the RAM, right? Because there's no SSD even close to as fast as the RAM. The reason these are important is because they can draw these assets instantaneously and they can have all of this detail very quickly. And this is what Microsoft means when they're talking about biggest, most detailed open worlds ever, because with the SSD and the virtual cache, this is the result you get. A ton of things happening, all at a very high LOD. That's why Digital Foundry couldn't... Remember when they were analyzing that Hellblade footage and they're like, we can't spot any evidence of LOD popping. That's because they were using the SSD as virtual memory. They had all this stuff loaded up and ready to go, and there was no need for LOD in that specific demo. This is what I'm talking about when I think, no, this is impossible in last gen, or even things that don't actually involve an SSD. Xbox could do it. PlayStation could do it. PC could do it. It's only on PlayStation. Obviously, they're going to use it to market their system. But I think at its full fidelity, that's very, very important. Well, honestly, the SSD is definitely needed.
You know what? Psychonauts 2 does it. I mean, you can jump between two different, almost like worlds in those doors and stuff that you come across. And I know you guys that have played it know what I'm talking about. When you're running through the world and then you see those little doors that pop up and then you jump in and it's a totally different world instantaneously. Yeah, I mean, it can be done, of course. But again, I think people were just jumping the gun and saying, well, this developer is saying that, this whole game can be made on the PS3 and that's BS. No, he wasn't saying that. He was just speaking on the rifts in general. I mean, we've seen it years ago in Portal. We've seen things like this that are similar for years. And even the Master Chief Collection, as Dee brought up, you can switch between the old, look of the game and the new look of the game because they're running both simultaneously. I mean, that's the way Joe Winter explained it to me as well. Like, this has been done for many, many years.
Well, look, not Andy has a pretty good super chat. Actually, he says, what future games could Xbox showcase for the Series X, basically to match or achieve mechanics like the rifts, right? And that was something that we had always talked about is when do you get to a point where you're forcing a mechanic like rifts with that much detail to actually build a game around, which, is one of the few games. You got to stress the bandwidth of an SSD to really leverage it. And there are many ways to stress the bandwidth of an SSD. Hellblade, like I just listed, is a good example where you got so much detail that they don't know what's happening there. Like, they're confused. It's never been done before.
And to go with what you said, though, Dealer, all 16 gigabytes of memory are being used on the PS5 for Rift Apart. Yeah. And then it's, some of the memories being pushed over to the SSD as well. Yeah. You do need the SSD to do everything Rift Apart does.
I think Rift Apart, it made sense for that game. I don't think we're going to see necessarily the same type of thing on other games. I think the benefit of the SSD on both of these consoles is no loads, right? So on a game, instead of having to wait for the load screen, it's simultaneously. You just go on to the next level without a progression screen or whatnot. The only advantage that the PlayStation 5's SSD has over the Series X is basically maybe a few seconds quicker loads. In all honesty, and when Microsoft starts to use the velocity architecture in their games, I don't think you're going to see a difference. I think they're going to be relatively close in their load speeds. Maybe the PS5 might be a second faster, but at the end of the day, does that really matter? People really hyped up this SSD to be more than it actually was, and it doesn't load it doesn't produce graphics, it doesn't compute graphics. It basically loads information, and it's fast at loading information, which is great, but it's nothing that's a game changer per se, as the Xbox Series X also has it, and this is coming to the PC later this year. So it is what it is.
Shout out to Kirby, the contrarian. No, Bonds is saying that with the OS and all of that stuff included, it's basically using all 16. Obviously, all 16 isn't available for games, right? So they're using what's available for games in the PS5, and the OS is taking up the rest. Apparently, Zoutler, what were you going to say, buddy?
I was going to say, I just find it I think we are kind of mixing what Sony's saying and what the developer's saying, right? Because Sony's like, this has only been done here, and the developer says the same thing. But I also think that people are kind of meshing the language of like, oh, all these games, like we believe in generations and all that. But I just find it kind of odd how Sony is kind of picking and choosing which games are only going to PS5, right? Like Ratchet and Clank Returnal, only PS5. And then you look at Spider-Man, it's Miles Morales, it's PS4 and PS5. And you look at Demon's Souls, PS5 only. But everything else, like their massive games, are going both on both generations, the PS4 and the PS5. To me, it's kind of like, I think it's just confusing mixed messaging. I think people are kind of trying to figure out like, hey, so what's going on? And then developers on top of it hear this. And when you hear something cool like this can only be done because of this, and we're doing some tricky technology stuff, they look into it. Every developer is going to look into it. And once they realize like, we can do this on a PS3 or PS4 already. That's what I think is happening. I think honestly, they're kind of throwing stuff out there kind of willy-nilly, so to speak. And that's what's weird, is that they're just saying a lot of things that to get people's attention. And I think that's what Sony is doing, is they're just getting things to get eyes on the PS5 and put games out there saying, look, you need the PS5 to play this. You need it. And I think
And
they're
you
just
have to
doing
remember, they did the same thing with God. They did the same thing with Godfall when they showed it. They said it could only run on the PS5.
Very true.
And so I find it weird, right? Like, so the messaging is not clear whatsoever. And this is something that we've been talking about for almost a year, or no, more than a year, since last summer in their show. They have been completely just non-transparent about what they're doing, how everything is being made. Yet, again, their competition has been extremely transparent about what games are going to be next gen only, what games are going to be exclusive, and what games are, going to be cross-generational. So it's a little weird, and I think that's why everything's getting kind of muddied with Sony. And then when you have developers kind of digging in deeper and kind of coming out publicly saying like, hey, because for them to say this stuff publicly, they're 100% confident. Like, that's the way I see it. No developer is going to go after another developer like that. And it's not even, they don't even think they're going after. They're just talking technology.
Yeah, but
And
it's the context, as
weird.
Vaughn said before, that's very important. And what are they saying exactly, and what are people taking away from it? Is that experience available and doable on older stuff in its exact form? No. But are they saying that rifts can't be done on older platforms in different ways? Of course they're not saying that. So that's where people are getting confused. And that's why I wanted to go on the details. Speaking of details, Meat Puppet, he's been a channel member for 21 months. Shout out to him. He says, what's the panel's opinion on the smaller, he's saying, oh yeah, we're going to get to the new PS5 model. Yeah. That's going to be a blast. And Austin Evans still thinks there's a thermal throttling on the damn console. We're going to have to talk about that stuff. But yeah, that's going to be fun, man. We would definitely get to that, brother. Shout out to Meat Puppet. And shout out to everybody checking us out already, 1,100 plus are watching us live. We do appreciate it, guys. Hit the like button, tell a buddy or two, and of course, let us know your thoughts in the chat as we go along. But yeah, there's developers out there questioning Ratchet and Clank. There's developers out there that are, hey, very, very correct in their assumptions that portals and rifts can be done on other platforms, but people are taking away from that this exact game can be done on other platforms, and that's just not the case. They're not saying that. So that's why I wanted to kind of run through that.
Well,
right?
I want to say something about this.
Go ahead.
First off, I do believe Zorker's correct that Sony's messaging with this has kind of got themselves a little bit in hot water. Anytime you're talking to absolutes, you're putting yourself out there. When you say, "Oh, this can only be done on Unreal Engine 5, only on PlayStation 5, this demo, it's impossible elsewhere," you're putting yourself out there. I think the reason why Sony's messaging is all over the place is because I think at one time that they were thinking about going with these narratives, and if you really think about it, last generation. A lot of the narratives were super positive for PlayStation, whether it be resolution or towards the end exclusive. And I think that they got themselves caught where they said they were at a meeting. They said, well, we'll make everything exclusive. We'll say we believe in generations. This will give us a heads up on a narrative over Xbox, and say that we could do things that they can't do because they're held back by older hardware, all that type of stuff talked. Then they said, wait, well, we're losing all these people. Let's make it available for everyone, and let's make it $70 too. And just like pack up, let's just bank on the buck. So I do blame Sony in a way for this, and Insomniac is a part of Sony, and there were claims made that which is absolute, and And I think that's why you have developers coming out, because when you say something can't be done, you're not saying at this level, you're just saying that, blanket statement. People are going to rip that stuff apart, and I just think that that's part of it. Do I think it's a big deal? No. But at least, I just think that anytime, even on Xbox anywhere, when people blanket statement stuff, that's just generally not a good idea to do, because there's always a situation or something that can come up.
Well, isn't it kind of funny that it's almost reversed, right? At the beginning of the generation, usually games are cross-generational. Yet if you look at Sony, a lot of their games like Returnal, and Ratchet and Clank, they're just all on the PS5 only. Same with Demon Souls. It's as if these games that were in development had different leadership, aka Sean Layden. And then when he left and Jim Ryan took over, a lot of the games coming in the next year, 2 years, are PS4, PS5 games. Do you understand that? That's what I see. Timeline wise, there's a difference. It's usually in the reverse, right? That's the reverse. So what people don't understand is that there is a massive change of leadership within Sony that a lot of people just ignored. That you're like, oh, Sean Layden left. We're all good. Right. But it's no. The games that he was directly impacted, which was these ones that just came out, are PS5 only, and the rest of them that are coming out have Jim Ryan written all over them because he wants cross-generational. You could tell.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Jim Ryan, Others Inc. Has a question. He says, hey, dealer, what's up with the hundreds of shows Jim Ryan was talking about? You guys are savage. Jim Ryan is, look, he just got up. It's a late day. He's a little off, okay? The hundreds of shows, he's still planning out the first 20, or the first one, really, and we'll get to that eventually. That's something I do want to know from the Sony guys in the chat, because Jim Ryan was talking about more shows, right? Where the fuck are these shows at?
I mean, isn't there rumored
they're on the
SSD
next month? So the hundreds of them start next month, or what's going on, Zachary?
I heard a show coming called Abandon. That's sure.
Oh shit!
I'm joking. Come on,
chat. Let us know why Zachary's so toxic.
Blue Box Productions. Blue Point.
Blue balls.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, that was pretty bad, man. So again, the Ratchet and Clank thing. We've all kind of said our piece on it. It's pretty interesting, nonetheless. And we will definitely get to the new PS5 and all that stuff. But there was another little kerfuffle over Twitter, basically to do with Little Nightmares, a little bitty game like this, running on Unreal Engine 4. Xbox Series X patch did not actually launch with ray tracing as it was advertised. They said they're getting on that right now, but there were some resolution disparities and all this stuff. And Digital Foundry was smashing, and we got Aaron Greenberg coming up and elbow dropping people on Twitter with facts and all kinds of stuff coming up. So that's gonna be fun. But
that was funny yesterday, dude. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, it was.
That's old school.
Yeah, that's the Greenberg we miss.
Colt called me Toxer 87.
Toxic Zocker 87. But the Little Nightmares patch is out, and it defaults to 30 frames, by the way. In case you're curious, you want to go on the options that said that 60 frames, that's the way it was meant to be played, and hopefully they get the ray tracing in there, because it's doable in that little game. If they don't get that running with ray tracing and 60, after everything we've seen, then they're not trying, which, we already kind of know anyway. Half of these patches, they're not really trying, but they still do make the games better, so that's good. Still, I guess we could jump into this new PS5 model, because why not?
Oh, yeah.
There is a redesign straight from Japan. Austin Evans had that thing flown into his office or wherever the hell he's out of. And basically, this thing runs 8 to 10 degrees hotter. It is a system that does feature a smaller heatsink, and it's going to be a little bit lighter. And almost 100% of that weight came out of the heatsink. They did reduce the size of that thing, and that's why it does run hotter. It runs a little bit cooler, just basically margin of error, but the fan is slightly different, even though it delivers about the same performance. My question is, and everyone's saying this model is worse, right? I think we need more tests. I think one of the biggest issues we were talking about before the launch of the external expansion drive, right, was that developers were having issues keeping the external SSD or the expansion SSD slot cool, and that's one of the reasons it took them almost a year to get it out. I need to know if that thing runs cooler, that slot runs cooler or hotter with this new drive, with this new PS5. That's something that they need to test with the whole thing closed up, and they need a sensor in that bay, because that could make your not guaranteed performance of your expanded SSD either better or worse, and why redesign it at all if it's going to make something that's already a problem worse, right?
Yeah.
Well, and it's in like if you see where he's testing it, one they're doing that playroom game that comes with the system, and that's what the game they're running, which is not demanding like crazy, and they're in the most optimal like area to test the heat. Like it's in wide open area, which Austin Evans says, he goes, "Hey, this isn't in a cabinet or like under your entertainment system where it's kind of more boxed in." He's like, "It's 10 degrees hotter already." And so that
so why
is
not stick it
good.
in a cabinet real quick and try it?
I know he didn't do that. He didn't do that. Like I'm just saying, man. Like it was in like the most optimal settings I've ever seen. I was like, yeah, okay, that's pretty nice to test it there. And as a side note, did you see the guy like next to him that took off the panel, just scratched the shit out of his PS5? He like took the panel off, and it's like, and it just like rips across, and he's like, oh man,
Oh my
it
god.
just has these marks. I laughed, bro. I was like, oh, that sucks.
Look, I do got to call him out on, because again, it's like been a year, and I think Austin still thinks that there's variable real-time variability to how the games run and stuff like that, like a GPU on the PC. And I guess he still doesn't know exactly how that stuff works with Smart Shift and how developers can tell the GPU to run higher while obviously at the same time reducing the CPU clock. Now,
Yep.
that stuff's going to get pretty bad when both of those parts need to be maxed out, or when the CPU intensity ramps up on games. They're going to really have to reduce the clock of the GPU, and that's where that 9.2 comes from. But, you know, that's just, again, that's part of the system and development on the system. You got to choose a clock on the GPU, how much CPU overhead you need or don't have, and you run with those clocks in line. But, I mean, D, when you saw this new redesign, the chip isn't any smaller. It seems to be now, you know, they're confirming 100% that they are finally not taking a loss on the system. That's all this was. It was a revision that comes at the cost of more heat, at least externally. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so when I first of all, I gotta address all the people saying, "Oh, it's blowing out hotter heat because it's being more efficient." Now, in my opinion, this is my opinion. They're gonna have to do tests on this. The PlayStation 5, like the revision, it has the exact same layout. So the console is exactly the same. It has the exact same vents, but the heatsink is significantly smaller. So if it's the same layout, if it has the same APU, because this has been confirmed now, it's the same APU. It's drawing the same amount of power. If it was like how some people say it was a 6 nanometer revision, it would be drawing less heat, first of all, because it would be drawing less power. So this is not the case. So it's the same APU.
Yeah,
so now you have
the power draw too. Yeah.
Yeah, you have significantly less copper on there. You got significantly less fins, less metal for cooling. It's the same setup. So just common sense tells you that it's going to get hotter. Now, I think they put that new redesigned fan in there because they want to blow more of that air out, because now it's getting hotter inside. Now, with that all being said, we still need some more tests. We need, to be honest with you, we need Gamer Nexus to get on there and to throw his probes in there to see actually how much the sock is getting hotter, how much the chip is getting than the initial version, because the heat coming out the back of it, that doesn't tell us enough. We need to know more. But just common sense tells you that if you have less metal on a same designed console with the same chip, that you're going to have less cooling. Now, in the end, it may be, well, it most likely is within Sony's spec, or they wouldn't have done this. So they did a calculated thing here where they're getting the PlayStation 5 cheaper. And this is because obviously now we know they're using less materials, and they ran it through the test and they say, you know what, it's an acceptable level. Now I'm seeing anywhere from 6 to 9 degrees difference running on this new PlayStation 5, and like I said, it very well may be within spec, but personally I think in the long run I don't think it's good for the PlayStation. I don't think it's good for the hardware. Any hardware that you have, if it's running hotter, you're going to decrease the life of that.
Oh yeah, that's why overclocked systems don't last long,
no,
right? That's
yeah.
why.
Do you remember though when this revision, we were talking about how Sony were going to revise it to, and again, my argument 100% was their revision was for cost cutting, so they finally stopped taking a big L on the parts in the console. You remember when people were freaking out because they thought, well, crap, I just bought one and there's going to be a better one. It's like, no, this is going to be a revision to get their cost down. And
it's one.
Well, Fonz was one. So I don't even remember that. Fonz was one. It's not like, I don't remember you freaking out though. Like,
No,
I feel like I would have
out.
remembered that.
No, I didn't freak out, but I said, man, I hope this is not better than the one I already have. And turns out it's not.
It is better. It's a little bit lighter. You can hoist it out of that box a little
that's
easier.
true. I could have picked it out of the box and been like, whoa, this is light. It's cute. No. It still looks the same. It's still monstrous. Might be a little tiny bit lighter, but Austin Evans, he's getting a lot of flack for just saying, that it's worse, a worse design, but because, there's not any further testing than what he did out the back of the vents. And if you know that even if you do the testing out of the back of the vents of the Series X, it runs hotter than the PS5 that way. But it's the internals that you really have to measure to find out, what's really going on in there, because it could just be doing its job very efficiently, right? Just like the Series X does. But I think where a lot of people are giving him a lot of flack that's really unjust and unfair is that he said that this is worse than the original.
Yeah.
And I'd argue that it is indeed worse than the original, being that it's using a lot less heat sink, no copper in there. Like it's taking away from what the original one was designed like. That one, even let's say that one was an overkill when it came to trying to dissipate the heat. Okay, so that's better. That's still better. So he's not wrong for saying it's worse, but he also didn't say that the sky was falling. He didn't say that it was going to melt this new PlayStation. He basically just said, look, it's a worse design. It's going to get a little hotter, but we won't know how this will affect games, if at all. And that's the thing people have to come away with, is that we don't even know if this is going to affect gaming at all.
Well,
a lot of people are jumping the gun on that, because it might not. It might not even affect the games.
Let me address that.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Let me address that real quick, though, before you do that shout out. Digital Foundry, they did like a write-up today where they actually got their hands on this console. And they haven't tested the heat so far, but they have said that they've been running games on it and that the games are running at the same level. So I don't think it's going to be a case where we're going to see the games really run differently. No. Now, if you have it like in a little cabinet, the newer version, then that shit might heat up a lot quicker and shut off, right? But apart from that, I don't think in the short term per se we are going to see a difference. Like I said, I think the longevity of the console, that's questionable. And just to be frank, like if you have console A and console B, and console A runs cooler than console B, I would say console A is better than console B, even though they perform the same in games. Still, I would say it's a downgrade, and they did that, to save money. So
of course, it's a downgrade.
And that's why my question was always the slot temperature. Not obviously the games are they should maintain that frequency. But let me give a few shout outs here. Go ahead, D, and we'll finish it up.
I was going to say, and also too, you brought up the SSD. That's another thing. Now, if you got that console getting hotter, I wonder how it's going to affect the SSD, because that's still in beta. They're still trying to work that out.
The internal slot temperature is hotter. We just know the external readings are hotter so far. So that's why I want to see those tests done. But Dreadpool,
do some shout outs, and then
Dreadpool said in Florida, where you don't have air conditioning in your car, the faster you go with your windows down, the cooler it feels. Yes, sir. It's what is funny at the time, okay? It made sense in the time. And then Ruben Almighty, shout out to him. He says, loving the show from Portugal. How do I become a patron? That is obviously in the link down below. Thank you very much, sir. And then we've got another one here from Mad Will. He's giving away a month of Game Pass Ultimate. And if you get that code there in the super chat, you have yourself, 300, almost 400 games and a month of Xbox Live for no charge at all. So Game Pass continues to be a great value. We got some really cool stuff coming up on that as well. I want to come to some kind of Psychonauts impressions here in a minute, but let me get a few more shout outs here. Mad Will, again, says Song of Iron, Xbox US only. He's giving away a code for that as well. So Mad Will's going mad with crazy code giveaways in the super chat. And then we've also got Jay Blaze, who says you actually got one. He got the Xbox Halo Series X as well as the Elite 2. Nice. He is hyped. Man, you're a lucky one, because none of us could. I was just listening to everyone in the party be like, I can't get one. It's broken. It's out.
Yeah, I got the controller. I got the controller. What happened? I was watching the presentation at Gamescom, and I was like half an hour late, so I was behind. So when it actually got to the part for that they announced the console, I went to go get it, and it was there, and then it went out of stock in my cart because I'm like 30 minutes late. So damn it.
And then one last one here, and we'll come back to you when we say.
When that announcement hit, I quit even watching Gamescom, dude. I was trying to order.
You sit there and F5'd it the whole time.
Damn right I did.
Get F5'd. RDX Son of Fett does say Sony will boost fan speeds and it will sound like the PS4. Hopefully not. I couldn't believe how loud my brother's PS4 was. I didn't believe it. I thought it was like a ferret in there like screaming or something. I had no idea what it was. But yeah, those things can get screeching loud. So hopefully not. They've already boosted the fan speed once on that thing.
I can answer that question. Actually, Digital Foundry, they also tested the fan speeds and they said it was the same. It wasn't louder than the original. So that's good news.
I think he's saying they will boost it, but we will see.
Well, to close out like the whole subject, to me the weirdest thing I've ever seen, the weirdest thing I've ever seen is that early adopters actually got the better version. And that's what's weird to me. Like usually early adopters get like kind of shafted because you're almost kind of like the beta tester when you're an early adopter. But now it's like if you get a new one, because this isn't just in Japan. These are in Australia, Britain. Yeah. There's some in the United States. They're all over now. These are the new. I think they're going to be the new standard of PS5s that are being sold. So it's kind of like, man, what the hell's going on?
Well, I don't want to put it out there like these things are going to melt, though.
Toxic.
Like the games
they're not
going to
melt. No.
I don't think there's going to be a big issue. Is it a slightly worse design? I guess. Yeah, but it's not going. I don't think it's going to affect the gaming and stuff. I really don't. I think they.
I mean, anytime you have after the 360, man. After the 360, I'm sorry. Anything with heat issues, like you should know, like it's done, bro. The red ring kind of like scarred so many people. Just don't flirt with it. Don't even mess with it.
PS5 isn't in that conversation right now, though. I mean,
I gotta say though,
overkilled the heat sink and all the copper they used in the original because they overclocked it and they were just nervous about it. But now that they've seen, testing with the games and
like
stuff,
the console doesn't explode until 142 degrees Fahrenheit, so we're fine. It's only hit 140.
I really don't feel like this is a situation where people need to freak out.
I believe that. I think
that what this will do, though, at the end of the day, is just up the price of these scalped original consoles like crazy.
Yeah,
and they will just mark them as the not hot editions or something.
Yeah, they're going to do something like that.
When they did the first test, there was some issues with the memory. Was getting a little bit hot, so I'd like to see that revisited now. When it's getting hotter, apparently that it's getting hotter. I'd like to see that retested. But I don't think the systems are like gonna blow up or overheat. It's just a lesser console, and I feel bad for some people because, in all honesty, like when you expect like a revision of the console, you would expect it to be better in some ways. And we know that the system could have better cooling, that it gets a little bit warm. So you would think that they would improve the cooling. So I'm surprised that they didn't improve it. And I had some guys in my comment section say that they actually sold their PlayStation 5, which I don't know why you would do that. They're so hard to get, but they said they sold them because they want to get the new version because they assumed that it would be cooler, and now they're like, oh crap,
they just don't like screws.
Yeah.
Well, here's my question: is this going to make them easier to get? Can they produce more of them, or is this just to cut cost?
No, I think it's just.
I think it is. Cost. I think it cuts costs, but I also think they're trying to get as many out there because let's be honest, whoever gets the most consoles out there is going to win MPD. So that's like kind of like what they're trying to do. Everybody's just trying to make as many consoles as they can. They're going to try to get it out there. Sony has had the advantage of making more consoles because they started making their consoles before Xbox did. So I just think that's something they don't want to relinquish. They want to keep making as many consoles as possible. And if they had to do something with a heatsink or bring it down or whatever they needed to do, they're going to do it because it's selling like crazy.
They did was cut the heatsink.
I want to see.
They changed the Wi-Fi, cut the heatsink.
Now it's got Wi-Fi V4, IPv9.
Okay, but all that is not really going to make it to where they can make more PS5s opposed to.
Well, hang on. Well, Ashtray has a good point. He says, well, all this, and I'm still going to be waiting for a PS5 Slim in several years, and that followed up by a extremely relevant super chat by Chris R. He does says, what do you guys think is the realistic time frame for the PS5 Slim? They need a PS5 short, really. That bitch is too tall. Now, when do you think the thing's going to come out?
Too tall because of the heat sink?
Because of the fan that's a third of the system.
Bring it down?
I don't know. What year do you think that's coming out? The PS5 Slim, small.
I say 2 years. I say 2 years. Both systems get some type of revision
with the new chip. Shrink.
Yeah.
I would say.
I'm at 2 years as well, and I just want to say something. The way consoles are distributed or what's holding them up is completely the APU and the silicon production. So I don't know if the this is more. I think it's just to make it cheaper, but basically, Sony and Microsoft are both dependent on AMD to produce the chips, at least from what I've been told, and that's what really they're waiting on, and that's still a problem.
So we need to tell them to quit making those PC graphics cards.
I don't think it's going to get any better because TSMC recently was announced that it's a rumor that they're going to do the next NVIDIA GPUs. They're going to do the Intel GPUs. They're going to do the RDNA 3 GPUs for AMD and, of course, the APUs. So I don't know, man. Supplies, it's going to be crazy.
Ah, man. TSMC, what have you done? You fools. Mad Will says another month of Game Pass Ultimate. Tell us in the chat if anybody's actually redeeming these and getting the month. Who's winning these? That'd be cool to kind of see. We'll announce that on the air there. Thanks to Mad Will. Shout out to him and everyone else in the chat, guys. Dreadpool. We've also got X-Burk, Others Inc., Ruben, as well as KY Bob. Shout out to you. It's been a minute. We're going to have KY Bob on eventually as well. But again, shout out to everybody watching live. If you haven't, consider hitting the like button, tell a buddy or two. And thanks to everyone supporting the show and all that good stuff. You guys are amazing. As we move the fuck on with something people actually give a shit about. You know, the reason I want to cover the PS5, the new model, is because there's a lot of people kind of fear-mongering it, and ultimately, it's going to be the same damn thing. Just
wait a minute,
apparently
social media fear-mongering?
Yeah,
no,
fear-monger media.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, it gets so bad, and Aaron Greenberg has to jump in and drop kick your face off on Twitter.
Oh man! Those find them to hell.
Hey, we're gonna talk about Aaron Greenberg's choke slam later, but we got some updates on some Xbox stuff going on. Scorn is confirmed for this year, fall 2021. So that's interesting. We'll have some more wall dribble action later this fall. Deathloop is apparently good. What's going on with this, Fonz? You're hearing Deathloop is actually pretty good. Right now it's a timed exclusive for the PS5. It'll be out next year for Xbox. But what's going on? What's being said right now on this game?
Apparently people who have access to the game early are saying that that the game is good and they're having a great time with it. They can't really say too much, of course, but that's the gist of what we're getting from a lot of people that have had access to the game. And that's a good thing, right? It's honestly another W, I would say, for Microsoft in that regard, since it is now a Microsoft game. Unfortunately, the Microsoft crowd, the Xbox crowd, don't get to play it for another year. But hey, you know what? At least you have a good game coming, and it's out there, and you know that Microsoft's, lately, Microsoft's had quite a few games that have come out and been really good.
So like Psychonauts 2, what are your thoughts on Psychonauts 2? Because everyone seems to be loving this damn game. It's at a high 80 or mid 80 right now in meta. What are your thoughts on Psychonauts 2? In chat, let us know yours as we go.
Psychonauts 2. Okay, so the original game, I played it back in the PS2 days. My oldest daughter and I, we played it together back then. It's one of her favorite games, and I've been talking about this even months ago on RDX that I was waiting for this game because of that. Like, we bonded with this game, and it's flat out just awesome. Like, it feels a lot like the first game. It's got that indie feel and that storytelling that sometimes you only get from indies sometimes. Like, it's just something like about indie games sometimes that really give you a different look and feel for the game. Like, I feel like this game, the mechanics, the stuff you do in it, it's just a lot of fun. Like, I think the platforming in it is great. The combat is fun. The graphics, that's another thing. Like, a lot of people were talking about how this doesn't look good. A lot of people were putting out, like, before the game dropped, it's ugly and stuff on Twitter. And I'm like, no, that's the art style of the game. Like, and had it been different, I would have been disappointed, to be honest, because this looks like the original, except very, very, very polished it's on a different level. I mean, you've got the textures, the resolution, everything looks so crisp and clean. Again,
you're not allowed to talk about how the materials and stuff look in Psychonauts 2. Remember that? You're not allowed to say the game looks good for what it is.
Yeah. You're not allowed to say that the materials and stuff look good in a game. It just looks ugly. Just look at the art style.
Here's the question.
Right?
Did you or did you not shoot bananas?
Y'all like bananas or no?
No, there was no fruit destruction in this game.
Hang on,
So,
you didn't shoot the fruit and see how it looked?
No, I'm not done with the game yet, so I have no idea about that. But I am about halfway through, and I am enjoying this game immensely. It honestly surprised me because I love the first one, but this game surprised me in that it brought a lot of that old feel back, but it got like a AAA treatment here. And it's wonderful, man. And it tells it sends good messages. My 7-year-old daughter is sitting there watching me play this game. And, it's just great to see her beam when I'm playing it, and it's sending good messages. And I feel good about her watching me play this one, opposed to all the other killing games and stuff that I play sometimes. She also smiles about it, by the way. So, but yeah, it's just an awesome little game here. And honestly, like halfway through it, not completely done yet, but I'm saying right now that I understand why people are putting this as a contender for Game of the Year. It makes total sense. By the time I'm done with it, I'll probably feel the same, that it could be a contender for Game of the Year.
But you haven't played It Takes Two yet. That's why, right?
No, because I don't have anybody to play.
I'll play it with you, Fonz.
So, yeah.
We can play it.
That's a 2-player game, right? You can't play by yourself.
It's amazing.
It Takes Two, right?
By the way, this is a 3-player game, Aliens Fireteam Alpha Squad Elite 5 for the Series X. And this game is pretty hectic, almost just like Psychonauts 2. It looks very similar, don't it, Fonz?
No, it doesn't. Not at all.
Oh, shit.
This kind of looks like it could have been done on the PS3,
it looks like the same game, don't it, chat? I mean,
no,
look at it.
Looks like it could have been.
It's even got little aliens in it. Well, either it could have been done on the PS3.
Yeah, I mean, some of the graphics aren't very good, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're okay. They're just okay.
It's just okay.
Yeah. I was sure to shoot all the androids in the face because of Alien Isolation. Every one of them that I've seen. But yeah, chat, let us know if you've played this game. Big shout out to, again, Hargeet in the super chat says, looks like Xbox could actually have some nominations at the Keeleys. Yeah. Halo was one of them. Didn't Halo win best Xbox game that wasn't shown?
My gosh, what is that about?
Yeah, that was kind of dumb, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Shit.
All of a sudden you just hear Xbox game of the show or something, and then they said Halo Infinite. I'm like, what?
Halo Infinite console.
We didn't even see anything on Halo Infinite except for that CGI trailer or whatever. Like, what won here?
And I got called a motherfucker because of it. God damn it. I mean, it's a little crazy.
Almost did. Yeah.
Hey, Halo, by the way, is not going to be up for the award. It's too late.
Oh, shit.
By design. It's hiding. No, I'm just kidding. I'm playing. Doom and gloom.
Like you did last week on Twitter.
The chat's like crazy, just being on fire, I'm telling you. Like, I'm just laughing reading some of this stuff. Yes, definitely Eternal. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and move forward. Psychonauts, from what I've played so far, and a lot of you guys have blown past where I'm at just because I've been playing fucking Planet Coaster for some reason. Yeah, that's... yeah, I've been playing Planet Coaster, okay? Is that okay?
It really has been. I was in a party with him, and he's like,
I was like, Soccer, I just raised the price of my interest by $5, bitch. And he didn't know what I was talking about. I explained to him how this game worked. But yeah, I got some footage of that, for sure.
Freaking Walt Disney all of a sudden.
You know,
So
State of Decay,
it's
it's basically Roller Coaster Tycoon, but way better. It's in Game Pass. You should try it.
Woo!
Also, State of Decay are doing these like broadcast thingies. I don't know what these are for today, chat. Please let me know. I know one of you do. But they've been releasing these broadcast like signal things on Twitter and stuff.
They have. They're adding new content.
Again? Like, why don't you add a new game, damn it? Where's State of Decay 3?
I don't know, but I got back into State of Decay 2 again.
Did you?
So I'm happy. Let them release it.
So what are they releasing, Wimmy? Please fill the chat in.
It's a whole DLC going back to the original part of the map with new characters.
Didn't they already add the homeland or whatever? Wasn't that already there for that?
This is a new one.
Again?
So I don't know what they're adding it this week.
Interesting. But keep in mind, I'm a State of Decay fan. I reviewed the games, and I thought the second one came out, and some people had a lot of issues because their net settings were, they didn't peer-to-peer. It ruined it for a lot of people. Microsoft should have dedicated servers or something. But Yeah, they didn't. So a lot of people had issues. I didn't
Yeah, it
have all
was
those
buggy
issues,
as
but
well,
there were some
dude.
bugs for
Had
sure.
bugs.
But if you were playing co-op with people, you had way more bugs than you normally would. I can say that at least, and I still had a good time with it. I think I gave it like a 7.8 at launch, and I had a pretty good time with it. But yeah, State of Decay is still going strong. How many millions? I know they had over 5 million players like a couple years ago. They have 10 million
10
plus
million.
now.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what they said.
it's moving. She's moving.
And I'm one of them.
And
I'm looking forward
Willie's
to
5
3.
of them.
Looking forward to 3.
That's right.
I want to find that
Me too.
deer that's pissed off in the new trailer and see if he's in the new updates.
And scream
I know,
at it,
dude.
right?
No, that'd be rude.
It makes some excellent deer meat.
Well,
Venison.
Deer jerky.
Venison?
a zombie deer? I don't think so. I think pretty sure you would die.
Oh yeah, dude.
Jerk deer.
Chat,
Venison,
let us know
that
what you think
other
about
way.
D-Batch saying jerk deer on the air. Also,
Deer jerk.
yeah, they got some new signal things, so they're dropping even more DLC there. I saw Homecoming or Homefront, whatever it's called, and I was like, they already did this, but apparently they're adding some more there. And they also recently showed off Far Cry 6 Series X gameplay at 60 frames per second. So
Yeah, I saw that today.
it's going to have some co-op action, Tim Duck.
Yeah, I mean, I liked what I mean, a lot of people were complaining, but I liked what I saw. It looks fun.
What are they complaining about?
Just pop in the
Over a
level of
stream when the game's like
grit-
months away?
Yeah, well, I mean, I honestly feel like, unless gamers want to be the feeling of like being wowed, and if you don't do that, you get yourself in trouble. But yeah, no, a lot of people were just like, it looked like it didn't look total next generation.
No.
And just more of the same.
Yeah, I gotta say the same. I played all the Far Cry's. Like they're good, fun experiences, and it's a great open world. But I will say that although this one does look like it's fun because you got some like that backpack is pretty rad, but it doesn't look next gen. It kind of looks like the same old. So I can understand where fans of the series are coming from because it doesn't pop out. It looks a little dated. Like it doesn't look.
Well, I think a lot of the people that got to play it actually had to stream it onto their PC, and then they couldn't even use mouse and keyboard because it wasn't compatible the way Ubisoft let them play it. So they had to stream it in through like this one program, which Skillup said he goes, and then they had to use only controllers. So like they were just like, yeah, it's there's some stuff, but they really enjoyed it. That's what I've seen from the Far Cry 6. I think it looks awesome. I can't wait to play.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be good.
It looks fun. A lot of fun.
It looks fun, but like I'm just being honest, man.
I want to see it local. I want to see it local on a thing, right? Like I don't want to see it streamed and then streamed onto YouTube. Like,
yeah,
I
but
wanna
still,
see
if you
it
look,
streamed.
if you look at the textures and like the character models, like I'm just being honest, man. It's a little dated.
Don't
but
you put disrespect on that game's name,
that shouldn't be the end all to end all because at the end of the day, the game has to be fun, and I do think it is going to be a fun game. But personally, straight up, it's dated. Like we got some beautiful looking games now.
Do you think that's the engine?
And it's not holding up. Yeah, I think it's the engine.
Just
I think
the
they
engine.
need to. Yeah, they need to abandon it and they need to go with something new.
Abandon it. You just brought up some memories for some guys in the chat.
What about upgrade? Like the create.
The Dunia engine is getting a little long in the tooth.
That's my question.
Hmm.
I want to see
You know.
Sam Fisher in it. Damn it.
The
I don't
Dunia.
think it
New
looks
Splinter
bad at
Cell.
all, honestly. This is cross generational as well, isn't it? This game.
I guess.
I believe
mean,
so.
yeah,
I
it's
believe so.
cross-generational.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it is.
I
But
don't think it
makes
has
a lot
anything to
of
do with it,
sense.
though. I mean, Red Dead was
No,
last gen.
I
It
think
looks
it
better than all
does,
this
but-
shit.
I think this is why they used like their older engine, their old engine now because it is getting dated. But again, they'll just have to upgrade it at some point or just do something different, use a different one, like D said. But I think it looks great. I think it looks fine. Carlos Giancarlo Esposito, when they showed him, it looked like him to me, and it looked great. I can't wait to dive into this game because of him. I love that actor.
You're talking about
he's gonna be
Uncle Gus from Breaking Bad?
yeah, he's gonna be a
Did he have
great
all of his face
freaking
in the game? Because I want the
villain,
half-face
man.
version
Oh.
where he got his face blown off. I don't know if you guys
But
remember.
no,
Yeah.
but the destruction and everything and all the weapon crafting and stuff, it looks really cool, really fun. I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Hmm.
That's October, man. It's right around the corner. Cannot wait.
Capona had a question, but now I am blanking on it. Crap. Well, sorry. Shout out to you, buddy. Also, I want to give a shout out to Matthew Hazelhurst. He does say Jerk Deer sounds one of the little Jacobs. Oh, you talking about Grand Theft Auto 4? Yeah, they got all kinds. I miss the old infomercials with the restaurants and stuff from Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, and stuff. But maybe those will come back. But you guys, we can move forward though, right? We can talk about some of this old Dead Space live stream coming up. Now, Zucker, first and foremost, fuck you because you don't like this game, but there is a Dead Space remake coming out for next gen only.
Listen, Roller Coaster Tycoon. Relax over there.
Hey,
I'm surprised we're not watching NBA 2K right now.
But if it were a remake of Roller Coaster Tycoon, would you not like the game then?
No, I want a new game.
Dead Space is coming out with a remake, and they're having a live stream on August 31st, right? Or maybe
today.
Yeah, today. So
it already came
so
out.
check that out. Actually,
yeah.
I want to bring this up because they can check it out after the show here. So there's also some screenshots out there of what took place there, and there's some significant improvements. Like I don't know if you guys saw this, but the Dead Space remake.
I watched it. Yeah, I watched it and listened to it. It was great.
It's pretty. So do you like the game now?
I mean, I've always loved Dead Space, but again, stop with these remakes, people.
Damn it! I tried, chat. Tried talking some sense into him. Well, you know what?
I'm going to play it because it looks cool, man. Like, Dead Space was one of those games, like, last generation where I was playing it. I was like, holy shit, this is insane. Like, I feel really like this was, back then, like, I was like, wow, this is next generation. And now it's like, and now they're like, we're bringing it back. And I'm like, cool, let's check it out. But it needs to be, like, a really good remake or whatever they're doing because they're showing, like, a lot of stuff from, like, the last game. And they're like, now look at it with this graphics from this generation. And it's like, cool. But again, I want it. It's for me. Every game is about gameplay. I want to make sure they get it tight, they get it right, and there you go. That's all, man. That's all I care about.
You should come out with a rap album.
Thanks.
Let's just hope it's nothing like the Crisis remake.
Crisis remake? You mean those are like a remaster?
Horror show.
That was bad.
I spent $30 on that garbage.
For me,
I
the
played for
remakes.
10 minutes and deleted it.
Oh shit!
For me, the remakes don't matter so much if it's an older title. Like I think the original came out like 2009 or 2008, something like that. So that's quite a long time ago. So a remake of that game because it's not so fresh in my head. I don't even remember half the game to be honest with you. So for me, that's fine. I can get back into it. I don't like the remakes when the games are like 2-3 years old. Because it's really fresh and you remember all the experiences. So I don't like the newer remakes, but an old remake, I'm fine with it, to be honest. So I think this game will do fine. And people want Dead Space. Like, let's just be honest. A lot of people have been clamoring for Dead Space, man. So I don't think it's a bad deal.
This is a test, D-Batch. You're going to be like, hey, we're going to redo this and how we think it should be properly redone with a little bit of reimagining, right? I think of Gears Ultimate Edition, but even pushed out a little even more, right? I think it's going to be technically impressive. I think it'll be, barring that it feels and plays great, should be a really, really good kind of reintroduction to a lot of people. And if that goes well, they're going to continue the franchise. I think it's time. Mad Will thinks it's time to give away another code. Last code, Psychonauts 2 for the Xbox. And obviously that does transfer over to PC as well. He's throwing that code up there for you guys. Shout out to Mad Will and everyone winning those. Let us know if you actually gotten one of those and won the code and the game or whatever. Thank you very much. But yeah, Dead Space, it's a thing. It looks great. Looking forward to playing it.
Yeah.
It's about time.
Real quick about the remake, though. It's not a bad idea considering not a lot of copies were sold initially. And there's still a lot of people there, especially on console, that have not experienced Dead Space. So this is one way to really get them back into the series, into the franchise, and, experience it for the first time and then hopefully purchase it and continue on the series,
That's true.
Because it didn't really do well originally.
No, it didn't. Definitely an underrated game, and that's a very good point. That's a tremendous point because that's basically why I think they get away with it. Not many people did play the first, and it's a really good game.
And a lot of people that I've even talked to said, they don't want to go back and play it. It's probably really dated feeling, and so I get it. Like you just remake it, you make it really good. With all the fancy new graphics and stuff, and you get people excited about Dead Space, and then you continue the franchise. It makes total sense in this situation, Zocker.
Now, speaking of Zocker, we got to give a shout out to, well, first off, Noob Noogum, shout out to you. But Zocker Xberg says, highly recommend Zocker's appearance on last Sunday's Iron Lords podcast. Yeah, we mentioned it at the beginning. Check that out. Shout out to you, Xberg. And of course,
thank you.
We got another shout out from from Vic the Brick, right? He does say PS5 remake out now. Yeah, I
So
told you.
I
These
guess
guys
what
are
I'm trying
savage.
to say about this whole remake thing is like, yeah, it came out in what was it, 2008, the first Dead Space, and then the next one came out in 2011, and the third one came out in 2013. So we got 3 games, including a new franchise in Dead Space in one generation. I understand development time takes a lot longer, but if development time takes that much longer, that's why I want something new. I want developers to give me a new franchise. Give me something that I've never seen before. I've experienced Dead Space. That's all I'm saying.
What's your
If they
favorite
keep going
franchise,
back-
Anchor?
StarCraft.
Now, what if they made a StarCraft remake of something you liked?
I mean, if it's something completely different, then yeah. If they make like the StarCraft Ghost, yeah. Give me StarCraft Ghost, but they cancanceled it.
But what
Like,
if
I've
it
had
came
the
out 20
strategy
years
game
ago
for
and then
20
they wanted to remake it?
I mean, they did. They remade the freaking StarCraft 1 Brood War. They remastered it and
I'm
gave
saying
4K everything.
StarCraft Ghost.
They never made it.
I know. That's why I said, what if they made it 20 years ago and now
It's a
they
new
want to
franchise.
remaster it?
It's a completely different game.
What if they added 60 frames to Odyssey?
Ooh wee.
He's like, never mind.
No, they already. I mean, 60
Hey,
frames.
Odyssey's pretty smooth
know.
with that patch. So good. It's pretty good.
It is pretty good.
It is good. Ruben, shout out to you. By the way, he says, "Do you see the Eurogamer article where Microsoft paid $100 million for what the hell? T-Brissing? What is that? Sorry, maybe I'm tripping. T-Brissing. Anybody can pronounce that better than I can? Is that a thing?
No.
D-Batch?
What do you?
He said,
What's it?
if it's true, I just think how much Sony paid for RE7 remake and new one, or Final Fantasy 7 remake and new one. I'm not sure about any of that, man. I didn't see the article or any of that stuff. I'll have to look into that, Ruben. $100 million for T-Brissing. Maybe I'm tripping, but let us know in the chat. KY Bob, by the way, channel member for 23 months. He says Dead Space was in different competition with Mass Effect at the time. So I don't know. It wasn't in competition with Mass Effect. I guess it was kind of different.
I
genres.
don't know. I don't think it. I think it's a completely different genre. I think that Mass Effect.
Well, he's saying a lot of people overlooked it because of that. But I mean, I don't know. I can say they're different enough, right? Maybe not though. Maybe KY Bob's right. Maybe he is. And then, of course,
And Fallout 3 came out in 2008. Metal Gear Solid 4,
dude,
Gears
2008,
2.
2007 was fucking huge.
And one of the best games ever, Too Human.
Trash.
Too trash.
Too trash. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to it, though. I do want to move on to Microsoft drop kicking some people on Twitter and stuff.
When did this
basically,
happen? I never saw that.
You never saw that. Well, you're about to see
No,
it.
I never saw it.
He's going to see it real good right now. He says, basically, Aaron Greenberg and these guys are confirming once more for the 547th time that these games are going to be permanent exclusives. And Wed Dragon had to basically misquote them again and try to say that they said something they didn't, like he always does. And Greenberg popped up and said, yeah, we've tried to be as clear as possible in this. Not a timed exclusive. This is simply the game. The game is being made here. That's basically what we're saying. Like, it's going to be a permanent exclusive. He confirmed it. He also said it's not a timed exclusive. And this is just, why do they have to keep doing this stuff, Fonz? What is going on here?
They have to keep doing it because there's so many people out there, PlayStation fans, that believe that there's still a chance that Bethesda games are coming their way. Because, they get these little nuggets. You get the special anniversary edition of Skyrim. They may get some
which is a
special
free
editions
upgrade
of
for all
Fallout 3
existing
coming. Users. They'll get some older Bethesda legacy titles, as we've said time and time again. But the new games outside of those, like Elder Scrolls Online games, the new single player games and stuff, Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout, 6 or whatever it is, next 5 or whatever it is. These games are going to be exclusive to Xbox. I don't know how many times Xbox has to say this. They how many double, triple times in one show said it for Starfield, and they still ran with
not
it.
enough banners.
And the thing is like I put out a thread the other night because of this whole situation that was going on again, and I put out a tweet that basically said, hey, you're not going to see these games outside of Xbox unless Game Pass is on that platform. And you still have people there in my thread saying, well, don't state your opinion as facts. It could still happen. And I'm just sitting there going, oh my God.
This is hugging a teddy bear.
How many times do they have to say this stuff? I mean, you had Pete Hines, who was quoted in a slanted article. Yet again, we have a slanted article written.
Is that what you're talking about? Because Tony Bryant says Greenberg and Pete Hines jumped on and
Pete Hines.
crushed.
Pete Hines jumped.
So he was quoted as saying that, he said that Starfield, I don't have the direct quote, but he mentioned Starfield, he mentioned Bethesda games and says it doesn't mean you won't get any Bethesda games in the future or something. And they took this and said, Starfield is going to be,
so let me talk. Let me say I got the quote. So here's a long quote.
Good.
He said there are Xbox brands that exist on other platforms. First and foremost, I think most important note, Minecraft didn't just stop existing on anything once Mojang got bought by Xbox. It's a massively played game on all of these other platforms. It's not a sorry, you're never going to get to play anything by Bethesda again. Certainly there are going to be things that you're not going to be able to play on PlayStation. And then he says Hines mentions how Starfield was announced as an Xbox exclusive, but he also suggests that the door might not be shut entirely on Bethesda games coming to PlayStation in some capacity. Starfield, this is Pete Hines talking, it was announced as a thing that's an Xbox exclusive. I don't know if I would go as far to say you're done ever playing stuff on PlayStation, but again, I don't know the answer to that right now. So for me, I think he's just being very, very careful with what he says, because what people are forgetting is that he's saying Bethesda games. He's not saying specifically Starfield. Bethesda games are Deathloop, Ghostwire Tokyo that are coming to PlayStation, plus the Skyrim anniversary update coming to PlayStation. There's a lot of games, Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76, games that are online coming to PlayStation. You're going to get these updates because you know what? Like Minecraft, it's a legacy title. They're not going to abandon the people that have bought their games on their platforms already. That is something that they've always said. That's something that Xbox has said. And that's why they probably went with Xbox in the purchase. Because Xbox is like, hey, we're going to respect your purchase. That's what they're doing.
Zucker, you read the exact quote, and I read that same quote, and I came away with the same thing. Like, these guys lack reading comprehension.
But then Pete Hines came out and crushed people that are trying to misquote him.
And Pete Hines
came
out and said, that is not what I said. And basically said they were grasping at straws.
Yeah, he posted a gif of somebody reaching for straws.
That was funny.
But hey, may I remind everybody what Phil said again? Let's get Phil on.
Oh, shit.
This is about delivering great exclusive games for you that ship on platforms where Game Pass exists.
All right.
Thank you, Phil.
Again, he has to say it every time here on RDX.
And you also got to remind people that the series consoles are at this point in time, this rate, right? Where as of the amount of months they've been out, the best-selling Xboxes of all time, even with a shortage, which you can't get a Series X to save your life right now. And these games are available on more systems than ever at launch: PC, Series S, X, Xbox One, Xbox One S, Xbox One X. Yeah, all of them are pretty much available on everything right now, and the consoles are still moving. So everyone's got their own reason for buying a console, and I think this old antiquated thinking of, well, you've got to have some software or your hardware is not going to move. Well, they've got a lot of software, both third and first, but it's available everywhere, and that's actually a benefit. It's a reason to go to Xbox, not a reason to turn away from Xbox, believe it or not. Yeah. Flexibility is great for the consumer, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, they're still fighting this whole consumer, this whole
I forgot to tell
thing.
you. I played that little clip and for somebody on Twitter, and he told me, well, Phil is lying. It's going to be timed exclusive. And I just laughed. I just walked away at that point. You can't talk to people that refuse to take facts.
The thing is, we're giving these guys too much credit. They can read. They know exactly what it says.
Thank you.
You have a group of people that have nothing else to fucking talk about. So what do?
They got a new PS5, woman.
I own 3 PS5s. I play everything.
You're the one taking them all.
Damn right. Here's the catch. They've got nothing to talk about. They want something to talk about, so they attack Xbox, try to create fake narratives, and that's it. He knew what was said months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
just
mean,
new-
I
it's a
think
new
I
batch
think
of
it's
bullshit.
tied. I
It's
think
exclusive.
it's tied to the because let's be real. I think it's honestly tied to people actually annoyed that this game is not coming to the PlayStation.
yeah.
Because Elder Scrolls
Oh,
and
Elder
and
Scrolls is
Fallout and all
hurting.
that. But like Starfield, like think about it. They just had a big announcement talking about like 3 worlds that are in the game, and they gave little descriptions about them, what they are, and that's just 3 like planets or cities they talked about, and they showed some concept art about them.
Yeah.
So Starfield was being talked about. People were like, "Wow," because everybody's excited for this game. Bethesda and Bethesda Softworks or Bethesda Game Studios, they make like if not the biggest games ever made. Every experience is different. They have insane replayability. That's what people are annoyed about is that this is a PC Xbox exclusive. It's going to be on Xbox and PC. That's it, or wherever Game Pass is. And that's why people get annoyed because it's getting
they're
closer and
hurting.
closer.
They're hurting for Elder Scrolls 6 big time because they keep bringing that one up saying, no, that one will be multiplat. And that's the one that when you get down to the bottom of these guys that are still in denial, it always leads to Elder Scrolls 6. That's hurting their feelings.
Big
so
shout
much.
out to Scrub Nurse, by the way. He says, hit the like button, everybody. If you're watching, hit the like button, tell a buddy or two, subscribe, all that good stuff. As we continue with some opinions, some very nice opinions on everything that's happening in gaming. Again, for those asking, Alien Fireteam Elite on Series X. And I want to
PS3.
kind of, because this is kind of our topic here, and I want everyone's kind of final thoughts on why people can't grasp this and why they can't get over the fact that not only haven't they even played Fallout 4, but they really want the next damn Fallout on PS5. Why are they struggling with this, Tim? What is the big deal here? What's the disconnect?
Exclusive.
Well, I honestly think that there was this possible chance that Xbox was going to explore this type of timed exclusivity. You had comments by Tim Stewart, the Xbox CFO for Xbox, made a comment that all games they could be this and could be that, could be timed, could have be enhanced in some way for Xbox, and people went crazy about that. So I definitely think that it was in discussion, and that type of talk and everything. The Sony guys and all the Sony fans were, they're well in tune with what Xbox does anyway, but they knew it was a huge subject. Just going forward, I just think that they like Starfield is really building itself up. It seems to have a ton of hype. I could just I've joked around about this type Starfield and get 350 likes right off the bat. So I think that it's a big game, and I think that it's unsettling for a Sony fanboy that this is going to be the reality. And if they had their druthers, they would obviously be playing these games. But this is the type of power the exclusive has, and just Greenberg, the way he came in and dealt with everything, I thought was needed to be done. And just shout out to Aaron. He came in and he just took out. He just made no doubt about it.
We want more of that, Aaron.
Yeah, and then it was kind of funny. We were all laughing about it, and people were making jokes. And Red Dragon was really he got destroyed.
He got dragged.
Red Dragon.
He got dragged around, man. But I just think overall, this idea of them putting their games on PlayStation would have been a disaster if they had went the other way, like, hey, we'll just do it timed or stuff like that. I think they got something really good on their hands, and the Bethesda deal really clicks with just the general public and everything. They can, when it becomes a reality, Elder Scrolls 6 is only on Xbox or xCloud. Forget it. It's just going to be something where people are going to be like, I'm fed up. And I definitely can see Xbox gaining some share.
Bethesda Softworks first new IP in 20 years? Of course, people are. It's a massive deal, and honestly, if there was discussions about making it timed, blah blah blah, whatever. Hey, if that happened, that happened. But to me, I honestly think once the deal was going down, they're like, this is exclusive because it's going to be the biggest game you've brought out in the last 20 years. That's all, man. I just get over it. It's going there. It's over. It's whatever.
Yeah, you
It's
got
going
to
to Xbox
tell
and
them.
PC.
Here's the thing to tell a PlayStation fan: you're either going to have to buy an Xbox to play it, or play it on your supercomputer that you say you have.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Bullshit. Play it on your phone. Play it on your phone.
I thought all these guys have a PC and they're like, oh, we don't need an Xbox, we got a PC, so go play it on your PC. It just goes to show you that this is a big deal. Like these guys, they say they don't care that it's only on Xbox. Oh, we don't care. The game's buggy. Bethesda sucks. But then when you hear these stupid articles saying for the 100th time after Microsoft has said in so many ways that it's not coming to the platform, and you see these articles come out, they jump, oh, it's coming to PlayStation. Aha, look, it's coming. We're going to get to play the game. Like, make up your mind. Do you want to play the game or you don't want to play the game? I can tell that you want to play the game, and if you want to play the game, you're going to have to either A, get an Xbox, or B, play on your PC. And I think that is fair. I think they're not locking you in specifically to Xbox per se. If you have a PC, you can play it on Steam, you can play it on Game Pass. So there's that option there. And now, as these other rumors that, other games are going to come, like the panel said, like some of these anniversary editions, some of these other games that have an online presence, that's exactly what they were talking about. They've come out so many times and said that it's not coming to the PlayStation 5, yet we still have articles and people saying that. And even what Peter Hines was saying, he was loosely saying it. I don't know how Red Dragon turned that around onto Starfield. Like, what?
I like turtles. Hey, any other final opinions on this?
No, let's get the hell off of
I forgot who Red Dragon was until he got murdered.
I don't know who he is, but he needs to learn some reading comprehension skills.
Well, Hooked on Phonics doesn't work for everybody, especially me. Hey, I want to give a big shout out to Lord Starkiller, and this is where we can cap it off. He says, tell Sony to, first off, big shout out to him, $25 super chat. He says, tell Sony to share their exclusives like God of War, and maybe, just maybe, Microsoft will share their exclusives like Starfield, and then parentheses, not likely. Of course, not likely. Not going to happen. He says, currently at Oracle Park watching Brewer. Oh, crap. He's watching a baseball game. So that's cool. He says, watching Brewers at Giants. Thanks for bringing a great show, RDX. Thank you very much. Do appreciate it, sir. And then we've got Windows XP. Shout out to you, Windows XP. What the fuck was going on there? He does say, that was Vista. My bad, your cousin. He said, sitting without power after that sucks. I've been there. He says, after writing out Hurricane, thank y'all so much for giving me a sense of morality.
Sure.
Normalcy. My bad. So yeah, you know what? Thank you very much. If you feel normal here, that's great and very special. So shout out to you for checking out the show, and thanks for powering the show, and everyone here. Thanks for what you do. We're cutting it here. We're cutting it at this minute marker because that's when it should end. That's what I feel like it should end. The topics are over. There hasn't been that much going on, so we're not going to force a 2-hour show. We're definitely not going to do that. So again, thanks for checking us out. Maybe tell a buddy or two. And of course, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff, and follow and support the panel members here because they are some of the best, most awesome people around. So we're going to do some shout outs. Except for Zalker. Zalker, speaking of Zalker, what have you been playing, buddy? And where can people find you?
I've been playing a bunch, man. I'm playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, actually. Been really going through that, having a lot of fun with it, man. That game is massive. There's so much in that game, plus the DLC being dropped. So I'm just going through that and having a lot of fun with it. I'm going to be buying... I also played Song of Iron. Matt.
How dare you call Joe Matt?
Sorry, Joe Matt.
Motherfucker.
He made a really good game, man. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very well done. For a single developer working on it, it's honest. I played through it in 4 hours, 5 hours. I just sat through the whole thing and played it, man. It was a lot of fun. I didn't want to show I don't want to show footage. You're right, because some stuff happens in the middle of the game that really just you're like, oh, whoa, what's going on? And it's really cool. So I got to tip my hat to him. You know, he worked really hard on it for several years, and I really enjoyed the game.
Hey, shout out to Greenberg. Shut up, Zalker. Shush. Greenberg's in the chat. That's actually the real Greenberg. I've modded him. He says, LL Zalker. Shout out to Greenberg. You know, what you did on Twitter it's always the right thing to set the record straight, man. So it's awesome to see you in the chat again, man.
I said, what's up, leg dropper? He did, man. I'm just saying.
Oh, God.
But yeah, no, that's what I've been playing. You guys can find me at on Twitter at Zalker87, YouTube Zalker87, and yeah, just having a good time. And chat, thanks for coming on here and giving us like, the energy to do this. You guys honestly power the show, like Dealer says. And thank you, Wilmy, for coming on. And Greenberg, keep taking people's heads on Twitter. It's great.
We had Aaron Greenberg on the show actually a while back. You can find that in the RDX podcast playlist. He was a phenomenal guest. And, he's always keeping it 100. So we do appreciate Greenberg for stopping by. Also, D-Batch, brother, what have you been playing and where can people find you, man?
You can find me on YouTube, of course, at dbatch, on Twitter at d_batch. I threw up a video on Sunday about, the new PlayStation 5 revision. I haven't really been playing anything, man. It's end of the summer, so it's kind of family mode. So we just been going out and doing stuff with the family. I hope to get into some games this week, so I'll probably play Psychonauts. I'll give that a download and try it out. But yeah, apart from that, it's been a pretty quiet week for me. But it was a great show, great topics, man. And yeah, see you guys next week.
Definitely. Fonzarelli, brother, what is Fonz?
He's not here.
What happened to him? They got him? They
I think he
snatched him
dropped
up?
out.
All right, well.
Yeah, I think so.
R.I.P. Fonzarelli. Find him at the Grounded Gamer. And then he hates that. Fonzarelli Gaming. Find him there. Wilmy Hood, brother, thanks for coming on and guesting, man. Not a lot of topics this week, but we kind of crammed everything in a timely manner here. Tell people kind of your final thoughts if you got any, man. I'd like to maybe get a few more words out of you, and of course where they can find you, what you've been playing.
Give my final thoughts. Keep in mind one thing from chat. There is two different types of content creators. Those of us that play games and those that just bitch about games on YouTube. But on that note, you can find me pretty much everywhere. Look for Wilmy Hood on all the systems. And you can find me on YouTube under Gaming Beyond the Box. And tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, we will do our show where I curse a lot more.
Yeah, we were pretty late this week.
Tonight. Yeah,
Sounds like my kind of show.
Dealer cursed more than I did, and that kind of worries me. So, but yeah, you can check me out there. And actually, Dealer, we have started. I learned how to edit videos now.
Oh shit!
I taught
using
myself
Windows Movie
Adobe.
Maker 95.
No, Adobe.
Using-
I've been paying for that shit for 2 years.
Hey, you got
and
to
never tried
start
use it
somewhere,
for
man.
weeks.
So I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Yeah, I've put out a couple doing a short little thing. Matter of fact, with State of Decay 2.
Ooh.
It's called Letters from the Apocalypse. It's just a funny little clip. And we're actually throwing up reviews on the channel now. We finally hit 18,000 subscribers this week, so we're
You're
happy.
You're moving, man. That's good.
Yeah, we're getting there slowly but surely. We're still no colder dealer, but
Well,
maybe
I
in
mean,
20 years.
I started out on Xbox DVR, okay? Like, trust me, I know the struggle's real. There's a grinding period, and you're making progress. That's all that really matters if that's personally important to you.
Well, maybe in 20 years I'll be in my 60s, and then I can sit back in the nursing home and make Twitter spaces complaining about what other people have hooked up to their televisions.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
Shit.
Whoa.
And on that note,
A cat?
Shout out to Wilmy. Follow him at Wilmy Hood. And of course, you can find him on Twitter releasing memes that you laugh at.
Biologic.
Hey, shout out to Ricky Falon real quick, too. He says Game Pass is making it impossible, in all caps, to catch up on his backlog. He says he beat The Ascent, Death's Door, and he's now playing Psychonauts 2. He still has Hades plus more. Yeah, seriously. I mean, again, Game Pass is crazy, and they keep investing, bringing more and more. So that's awesome. Also, shout out to the moderators of the show. And again, Greenberg's still talking to the chat. He said he wants to come back on, so I'll follow up with Jeff on that, and eventually maybe we can have Greenberg back on and get some fun questions and some fun updates from Xbox there. But Tim Dog, what have you been playing, buddy, and where can people find you?
Playing Psychonauts 2 and 12 minutes, which I really enjoy a lot. You can find me on Twitter, xCloud TimDog, where you'll see me giving compliments to Godzilla. As I said yesterday, Godzilla Greenberg for the absolute, just came in there and just ended the Starfield dilemma like I've never seen anybody crash course Twitter like that. So it was a real funny day. And
that was awesome.
Give that man's kneecaps back.
yeah, it was just like he must have been like, I had enough. This is it. But it was really funny, and that's just like somebody said. This is why I love Xbox. on Twitter. You know, Aaron has been doing that for years, and thanks for coming down, Aaron, in the chat. He always has been a man of the people and a fan of just a normal fan. Like it's just crazy how he just can do that and do it so well, and also be a super duper executive at Microsoft. He blurs the line on that, and that's really cool. He's just a good person, and you know, yesterday, like I said, was needed, and just happy that happened. Finally, we can move on. But yeah, follow me, and I will be here next week with the nice new mic. So I'm glad I finally got
Ooh-wee.
it situated, and everything's good. Just see you on Xbox.
Yes, and I think I got everybody. Fonz had to run off somewhere, but of course you can follow me at ii_dealer_ii, and where I've been playing Planet Coaster, I've been playing Art of Rally, been playing
That's
Alien.
a fraud move there, dude. I'm sorry.
Oh, Planet Coaster? How dare you?
Man, that's terrible, dude.
How dare you besmirch Planet Coaster and Frontier's good name?
Tell him, Zocker. I mean, that's just not right, dude.
Why are you dragging me into your bullshit? You better handle it yourself.
Yeah, Wilmy's a fraud, but we love him. Definitely been playing that, as well as Alien, Fireteam Alpha Squad, Fireteam Elite, Dangerous, and then we've been playing Modern Warfare, and I haven't played 2K in like a week, so I might try to jump on some 2K21.
Oh my God, really?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm not the best, so I'll be better after I dunk on some of you in 2K if you want to play. And of course, maybe I'll hit Mab up, Fun Speculation, these guys, and see if they want to play. But again, thanks for supporting the show, and you guys make it what it is. Seriously, you make it one of the biggest Xbox podcasts in the history of the planet, and that's kind of special because we don't give a shit about like what we're saying in terms of, you know, we're not corporate owned or nothing, so we're just kind of speaking from the perspective and thought process of actual gamers, and you know, you guys allow us to do that, so thank you. And again, if you haven't hit the like button, tell a buddy, and check out my last video. Those are things I prefer to do. Those production style videos are definitely, you know, where I had the most fun. So let me know your thoughts on all the topics as we get the fuck out. We're out.
Later, everybody.
Check out the links down below. Zocker's a fraud.
Okay, you said it. Okay, now we can.
RDX long.
Oh shit.